It's time for Website Review with your host, Anvil, Greg Kudlow, and Nick Lamb.
We are here with Steve Kudlow, Lips from Anvil. And you have a new album out, right? Well, it'll be out, what, February 21st, I think it is?
Oh, actually, February 14th. That's what they tell me.
Oh, I just looked it up on Amazon. It said 21st, so I guess it's different over where you are.
Where are you?
I'm in New York.
Well, it should be coming out the 14th. That's what it says for everywhere.
Bastards are lying.
Maybe on Amazon because they wait a week before. That's when they deliver.
Then that's what it is then. Yeah. Can't trust Amazon for anything, I guess.
No.
But this is, I was reading up some stuff. This is a 19th album?
18th.
18th album. Wow, jeez. I didn't realize you had so many albums out already.
Well, we've only been around about 43 years.
Yeah, so. Just a few years, right?
Yeah.
Well, you know what it is? I'm not new, but when the movie came out, that's when I really got interested in you guys. And I didn't know you had so many albums out when that movie came out already. I was like, oh my God, when I finally saw the movie and I got into you guys and I tracked down every single album that you own, I was like, oh my God, I didn't realize like these guys have really had a lot of stuff out.
Yeah, well, you know what, the business really fucked us over real good.
Yeah.
So, you know, and in doing so, you know, you couldn't get the production and kind of thing done the way it really should because of lack of money and the way that, you know, you had to scribe your way through, right?
Right, yeah.
You know, record companies that generally all from overseas, you know, everything was done on our own.
Right. So,
you know, the distribution, particularly in the USA, was virtually none.
Right. Yeah.
So it's not really anybody's fault. It's just the way that things worked out.
Right. Yeah, it was that period in time where it was just like everybody was having problems, I think, really, right?
Well, once the 90s hit, obviously, of course.
Yeah.
I mean,
which is funny because
fundamentally, I mean, what actually happened, of course, we did the first 3 albums and we gained a lot of recognition very quickly in the first 3 albums, and it got to the point where, and we were signed to an independent label in Canada with no distribution in the USA. But what eventually happened, there was a lot of recognition, particularly from Kerrang! Magazine and Sounds Magazine in the UK, which drew the attention of the big-time management company, David Krebs, Lieber and Krebs, which is Ted Nugent, Aerosmith's management.
Right, yeah.
And of course they got really interested. You know, they had connections with the Kerrang! Magazine people, which is ultimately Ross Helfand. I don't know if you know who that is.
Yeah,
a very, very famous photographer. And Ross went to David and said, listen, you got to check out this band from Canada, because of course Ross and Pete Makowski, who is known as Toots Daly, came to Canada before the release of Metal on Metal, and they met with us, and it really blew up pretty big in the UK. And that, of course, they went and told David he's got to check us out. So we were in recording our 3rd album, and the next thing you know, there's a phone call from Lieber and Krebs management company telling us we got to come to down to New York and that area and do 5 shows with Aerosmith. So right away we're going, oh wow, okay. So we leave in the middle of recording the 3rd album and go and do these 5 dates with Aerosmith, and of course now David Krebs wants to sign the band. Everybody's all, you know, we're all psyched out, just going, wow, we're going to hit the big time. This is all great.
Yeah.
And, the third album comes out and it's kind of like lukewarm reception.
Mm.
Basically, and fundamentally, it's 5 years ahead of its time.
Right. Yeah.
Kind of album. And the record companies in the USA are going, what the fuck is this? Okay. David Krebs has everybody come down and come see us at the Aerosmith shows and stuff. And he's getting offers from the major labels. And then, when he goes to look at it, they want the first 3 albums for free.
Wow.
Well, of course, he goes to the record company, the independent Canadian record label, and says, "Listen, give the first 3 albums to the American labels for free." And the guy looks at him, "What are you, out of your fucking mind? we just paid for 3 albums. We're just starting to recoup. What do you mean? Give it to them for free?"
Yeah.
So, of course, what David did, he talks the label into dropping the band. And he figured, well, I'll get Anvil a record deal in the USA and we'll continue on. Well, no one was interested because they couldn't get the first 3 albums for free because they wanted to use the money that was going to be generated from those 3 records being sold to basically fund the up and coming album. But of course, they couldn't get the label to release or to sign the records over for free. And there we were in 1983, finished our 3rd record, and now we're out of a record deal and pulled out of the whole system for 4 years. And the 4 most important years in metal history.
Right, yeah.
And then and then at the end of the day, oh, you guys are no good. You guys suck. And it's like, it's all our fault, right?
Right, yeah.
and we're left stranded in 1987. We finally kind of pull our shit together, and of course, too little, too late. In a certain sense, we had to go and produce our own record and go back to the first studio that we had first worked in and did an album. So we had to go, instead of doing a good old 32 track, we're doing, or a 24 track, we're doing a 16 track recording.
Wow.
And by doing it all by ourselves after we just finished with an English producer. So we put out that we kind of muster up a deal by the time 1987, 88 comes around with Metal Blade Records, which is, of course, whatever. And, we had a song Mad Dog, and we had all this stuff. And, like we're trying to get a major deal, and we're going to, of course, all of our old friends like Johnny Z, which is Crazed Management, Anthrax Management. He's going, listen, man, you got some great songs here, some great ideas and all that. But, I've got my hands full. I've got a half a dozen bands I'm working with. Like, good luck, guys. So there we were, ending up on Metal Blade and having Metal Blade push a band that's lost its momentum was like having an ant pushing the Empire State Building. It's just not going to move. It's not going to happen,
Right, yeah. I wonder how many of the other bands that he had over, like, how many other bands that he had, how many of them, like, actually survived? Like, do you know, like, other bands that he had, like, are they still around today or no?
Who's that, Johnny Z?
Yeah.
Well, Johnny Z had Overkill, he had Anthrax.
Yeah, the usuals, but like the things, maybe there's some bands that we don't know about that you could have probably took their spot, and because you're still around,
Yeah, I've outlived quite a number of the things that he did have. True enough. And believe it or not, he absolutely adores Anvil. I mean, Johnny Z's still, a great fan and a great friend. But, like I say, you're just, it's too little, too late. You just, it's just too bad. Shit didn't come together. And then, of course, that put us into a state of obscurity, and we had to do records all on our own. And it wasn't until, we put out, of course, finally got a record deal overseas on an independent German label called Massacre, put out a good 6 or 7 albums, So by the time we were ready to put out our 13th, go and record our 13th album, we get a call. I get a call from an old friend that that we knew, that was a roadie, that we had roadieing for us, that we met at the Marquee in London, England, when he was 15 years old, and we had taken him all over Quebec and Ontario and parts of New York State back in 85 and 86. He had grown up and gone to university and become a screenwriter, and ended up writing a script for Steven Spielberg and became quite successful. He picks up the phone and he goes looking for his old buddies in Anvil, and I pick up the phone and it's, Sasha Gervasi, and he's going, okay, let's get together. So I go, okay, get together. How do you mean? Where are you? He goes, well, I'm down in LA. And I go, what the fuck? You're from the UK. What are you doing in LA? I had no idea what the hell he's up to or what he's been doing. Nothing.
Right.
So he goes, listen, I'm going to send you an airline ticket to come, and I want you to come visit me in LA. And I'm going, what do you mean? Where have you got money to pay for something like that? He goes, don't worry about it. Okay. Just, it's coming. The next day, sure enough, there's an American airline ticket that gets delivered to me by FedEx. I get on the airplane the next day, and the next thing I know, I'm standing on the platform outside LAX, and I take a look, and there he is, a 35-year-old man, grown up from the teenager that I last knew. Right. But I can tell, obviously, it's the same guy, and I'm going, holy shit. I get into the car and I go, what the fuck? What's going on, man? And it's like, and of course, being the close friends that we were, we just kind of picked up where we left off. And he starts telling me as we're driving in Sean Connery's old Jaguar.
Wow.
Look, he starts telling me, I worked for Steven Spielberg. I wrote the movie The Terminal. I went, what the fuck? You're kidding me. I just saw that movie. I saw your name there, but it just didn't register. I couldn't believe what the fuck was happening. Yeah. So, of course, we hung out the whole weekend. Absolutely amazing time. And, of course, I brought down all the records that, of course, he hadn't heard and all this stuff. And he takes me over to his buddy's place, a guy by the name of Steve Zalian, who's actually a script and screenwriter that did Schindler's List with Steven Spielberg. So I end up at Steve Zalian's house, and I'm sitting on the beach at his beach house with his wife who's washing the dog, and Sasha's having a discussion with Steve in the kitchen as they're making coffee, and he's going, who the fuck did you bring to my house, man? She goes, well, that's Steve Lipp's Kudlow, man. It's from the band Anvil. Have you ever heard of him? He goes, no. And he goes, well, they got like fucking 12 albums out. He's 50 years old and he's still trying to make it. And the guy just looks at him. He goes, now there is a fucking story, man. Right? Yeah. So then, of course, like, ding, 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 the light bulb goes off in Sasha's head. I go home from LA. A week later, I get a phone call from him. He goes, I'm coming back up to Toronto. I go, and you're coming back up to Toronto? What do you mean? What's going on? He goes, I need to talk to you. So I go pick him up at the airport, and we drive over to his uncle's place that I used to go there 25 years before. And he sits me down in the living room, and he goes, listen, I'm going to make a movie about you. And I just about fucking passed out. I started bawling my eyes out. I couldn't believe what the fuck I'm hearing. Yeah. Because right at that moment, I realized my fucking ship just came in.
Yeah. Yeah, all the time.
Holy fuck, man. Are you kidding me? This is how it worked out? Mm-hmm. And of course, it came to reason to me in a quick flash that all the shit that I'd been through was all for this moment. Yeah. And it was, when something like that happens, you really, all of a sudden, your life comes into complete focus. It's absolutely incredibly overwhelming.
Right. Yeah,
he's
I'd imagine.
Freaking out like this, and he's going, what the fuck is your fucking problem, man? And I'm trying to explain it to him, and he's going, listen, I know that you're psyched out and you're freaking out right now, but come on, man, we got a long, long journey, okay? Before you, I mean, you're seeing red carpets and fucking spotlights. You better fucking calm down, right?
Wow.
Whatever. I was convinced. Was completely convinced this is going to be this is it.
Yeah.
And I was essentially, and I was right because nothing's been the same ever since.
Really?
At all. Nothing's. I mean, I'm living the dream. I haven't been back to a regular job in 13 years.
Oh wow.
The band has not stopped working and putting out albums.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's what happened.
Wow. Wow, really worked out for you then. Yeah, I was going to ask you too if you were still working in the school or whatever you were working in. It was a school, right? You were in a cafeteria.
Yeah. Well, not in a school. I was working for a catering company.
Oh yes, yep, that's right. Yep.
Yeah. So that's how it ended up. So it's quite remarkable. And here we are, 13 years after that. After the movie had come out, what I'm telling you about all happened in 2005. Between 2005 and 2008, finally the movie comes out in 2008. Everything has changed.
Right.
The whole landscape and everything about what I'm doing and how I'm doing it and everything to do with my musical career is completely the opposite.
Right.
We have not stopped working and been in a total momentum that is absolutely unbelievable. And in retrospect, and to look back and see and look at it all, nothing could have worked out better because ultimately, and this might sound weird, I had a conversation with Lemmy in 1983 in a hotel room.
I was going to ask you about this too. All right, go ahead.
A very, very famous evening that I had with Lemmy, an all-nighter doing speed and drinking. It's just actually how everything kind of came together. We kind of looked at and saw the future in both of our eyes.
All right.
You know that sounds like a weird thing to say, but and I'm telling him all this stuff, and he's going, well, in 10 years, somebody's going to tell you all this stuff. And sure enough, and it was closer to 20 years, and it was Sasha saying everything to me.
Yeah.
And it was Sasha who made us into stars and so far. So it's quite incredible the way that things actually worked out. It's just extremely magical.
Right.
And you got to be lucky, man. It's about being lucky. It's about laying the foundation and spending the time and the effort and hard work, and you stay at it long enough and work hard enough and be as dedicated to something. Eventually, you get lucky.
Right. Yeah.
You got to be at the right place at the right time, and sometimes it takes a long time for that combination to actually come into play.
Yeah, of course. Was there any point during your career that you would want to just stop doing Anvil?
No, because the thing is, we had made enough of an impression with our first 3 albums to actually to maintain our all we had to do was maintain the writing and keep writing and putting out records. And there were always labels in Europe very willing and able to put out our product. So that's how it ended up. Yeah. So we were able to finally, here we were to go do our 13th album, and the guy's running cameras, right?
Right. Yeah.
And it changed everything forever. And that's it. That what can be said. But all during this period of time, I was able to keep a regular job. I bought my real estate and set my life up. I was able to raise my son. I was home all the time to give him his dinners at lunchtime and stuff. I got to live a sort of a regular life while I was still keeping my music going. And then once the movie happened and everything, my son is now in finishing university, and I'm out touring all the time. I don't need to be home.
Right, yeah. Hey, so that was the reason why. You got to stay home with your kid. Most musicians don't get to do that. And they missed
That's
their whole
right.
kid's life. So
what I'm trying to say is all the obstacles that Lemmy told me to watch out for. If you're going to get married, you got to be home, because if a woman needs a shoulder to lean on, and if your shoulder's not there, she'll find another one.
yeah.
And that is absolutely true. These are words of wisdom, absolute 100% wisdom.
Yeah.
And I was able to be home. I was able to acquire my real estate. I was able to raise my son. I was able to actually kind of establish myself whilst still making music,
Right.
keeping it alive and keeping the interest and keeping the whole furnace burning.
Yeah.
And then when Sasha, of course, came along, bingo, right? And now, what a great retirement plan! I don't have to go and do physical hard labor, like doing the deliveries like that.
Yeah.
And I travel all over the world, and the only responsibility that I have is to my wife,
Right.
and she comes out to Europe and stuff every now and again, which is wonderful, because she gets to, it's like I'm actually getting to enjoy all the stuff without it getting wrecked.
Right. Yeah.
From being in rock and roll,
Yeah.
I got to the detour method. I really got lucky in that certain sense.
Yeah.
And I was able to avert all the problems that I'm sure Bruce Dickinson would do anything to have had. Now that his marriage has fallen apart and everything is going to shit and it's costing $1 million, I'm sure that he goes, I wish I had Lips's plan.
Right. Yeah. Right. Oh boy. But yeah, glad it worked out. Is your son into music or anything?
Well, what's really interesting, it's only as of lately he got suddenly interested enough to start playing guitar.
Yeah.
And I set him up. I gave him I gave him equipment here. Start learning. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, he was interested. He said it's actually quite. Some of the stuff is really hilarious. We sent him to day camp when he was. I guess he was about 6 or 7 years old, and we had turned him on to Judas Priest. So the Ripper became his ultimate favorite song. So they picked him up in the bus, and they're having all the kids singing, the wheels on the bus go round and round. And he's going, "You're in for a surprise. You're in for a shock." Anyway, they're hearing this kid singing the Ripper, and they're next thing you know, the phone is ringing, and they're going, "Your son is singing some pretty nasty lyrics, I'm the devil in surprise, I'm the devil in disguise." And it's like, okay, Avery, maybe you shouldn't be singing that at day camp.
I'm trying to. I got a 3-year-old son. I'm trying to get him into some stuff too. He likes a couple things here and there, but he can't get away from Peppa Pig and Sesame Street. So it'll take some time.
It's actually pretty neat when you watch them kind of develop their own tastes and stuff. He really got, after he heard TNT and what do you call it, AC/DC, he really got into AC/DC, and I guess by the time he was 5 or 6, they had that big SARS festival here in Toronto.
Oh, okay, yep.
We took him to see AC/DC, and I had him on my shoulders, and he's doing the devil sign, and he's like 5 years old. So, of course, after all said and done, a few years later, of course, the movie had come out, and we got to open for AC/DC, and I took my son. My son came with to the shows, and he got to meet Angus.
Wow.
So it's like a pretty remarkable turn of events, and and then I guess some time after that, he had really started acquiring his own taste, and he became. If you ever heard of Billy Talent, he started.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, it's a Canadian band that's sort of like a Green Day kind of style, that kind of era.
Okay.
Sort of a new age punky rock, and he got into that, and we were playing some festival, and they were at it, and of course they were big Anvil fans, and they invited us onto the tour bus, and I took my son with, and it's like my son is meeting all of his favorite bands. He's like losing his mind. But what a way for the kid to kind of gets into stuff, and the next thing you know, he's meeting the guys, and then he got Green Day, and I know Doug Goodman, their tour manager, so I got invited down to that, and
Wow.
so my son got to meet the guys in Green Day. It's like my son has really had the opportunity to really have some absolutely stellar moments.
Yeah, of course. Not too many kids can say that. That's cool.
Yeah, so it was kind of really cool but at the same time, he never really had the interest in music to actually learn. And I tried to teach him. I tried to talk him into it, and he just didn't want to know. It's like, that's what you do. I don't want to do that, you know?
Right, yeah. How many kids want to do what their father does, you know?
Yeah, exactly. So, now he's like 21, 22, and he's like all of a sudden he's got this interest. Now I want to learn how to play guitar.
Oh,
So
wow.
I set him up, and he's been noodling, and I've been turning him on to stuff like Jeff Beck and stuff like that.
Now, are you teaching him?
No,
Mm.
no, he's actually doing it all on his own.
Oh, okay.
When you got the internet, he doesn't need me. It's
Yeah, I
he's
guess
learned
so.
how to read what do you call it, charts and tab and all that shit.
Yeah.
He's gonna sit down. What am I gonna teach him that he can't learn off the internet?
That's true.
I mean, honestly, really,
But I mean, God, the shit that you come up with on a guitar, it just amazes me. Like, it's just like album after album, you come up with such good guitar riffs and stuff. It's just amazing. Even like on the new album, it's just the stuff that you do, and even your guitar solos are just awesome. And I was reading something earlier, and I didn't even know about this. Lemmy asked you to join Motorhead at one point,
Yes, that's right.
and you turned it down.
I had no choice. I
Why?
was in the middle of recording my third album. I had enough going on during that third album.
Yeah, but it was Motorhead.
Recording that third album, and David Krebs is telling us to come and fucking tour with Aerosmith. Lemmy's asked me to join Motorhead. It's like, what the fuck is going on? Just let me get my job done. You know what I mean? I want to get the album done. As it was, we had to start all over again when we got back from the Aerosmith run
Right, yeah. What year was that?
in '83.
83. All right. Who left Motorhead at that point?
Of '83, man.
Who was the guitar player at Motorhead that left?
It was Eddie Clark.
It was okay, yeah. Wow. You could have had a spot in Motorhead. But hey, it worked out for you anyway, so it doesn't matter, I guess, right?
Well,
I mean, Motorhead was around forever too.
it may not have worked out if I'd been in Motorhead. Maybe that's not working out. It's not working out. And I wouldn't have been with Rob. And the Fortune
I
Fire
mean, it ended up working out. You staying with him.
and either would the other 10 other albums that I recorded. You know what I mean? There's a lot that wouldn't have happened. There would have been no Anvil movie. It would have been really changed history in a huge way.
Yeah, you could have got kicked out of Motorhead the first week you were there, and then you would have screwed Anvil up, I guess, right? You never know.
No, there's no way we'll ever know what would have happened or what would have occurred or what the songs would have been like.
Yeah. You would have did a good job, though. Like I said, your guitar playing's excellent. So how is Rob? You guys get along, I guess, fairly well because you two have been with each other forever, right?
Yeah, it's 47 years.
Wow, that's a long time. Not too many bands around that can say that, except for I guess Kiss, maybe, right?
Yeah, I'm sure Gene and Paul have been playing together for that kind of length of time.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that unusual. I mean, come on. I think obviously Mick Jagger and Keith Richards, right?
Yeah, I guess that's true too. But you and Rob still like each other, right? I don't know if those other guys like each other. A lot of them are just doing it for the money.
I don't know that they don't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be too certain that they don't. When you've got the kind of money that we're talking about that these individuals have, they can do anything they want. They don't need to do anything.
Yeah, that's true.
They could stop tomorrow and not bother with anything at all. Never mind play together.
Yeah, that's true. So what keeps you to keep going with Anvil? Especially, how old are you now?
I'm 63. I'm going to be
Wow.
64 in a few weeks.
Yeah. Wow, that's great. That's cool.
I'm
Especially
still in
playing.
good shape. The 90s when I was doing all that physical labor kept me in good shape, man.
Yeah, you must be because you're playing like you're at your age. There's not many bands playing the speed that you guys are playing and the heaviness that you guys are playing. I mean, it's insane. You guys don't slow
It's not
down. You don't write no
bad.
ballads.
It's the massive tours too. Who's
Yeah,
doing 50 shows who's doing 50 shows these days?
yeah,
Who are in their 60s? I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah. Not many. But yeah, you guys don't really write any ballads or anything. You're writing the heaviest stuff because there's like a lot of other bands that older, and you can tell when they're writing like this. They slow down the music, and it just sounds like older people's music, in a way. But you guys don't. You sound like a younger band, and it's amazing.
Staying relevant. See, we're not a hit single band.
No,
Never
we're
have
not.
been.
But you do have some hit
So,
singles, though.
yeah, that you're never going to hear on the radio
Right?
in
Yeah.
a million
But
fucking years.
do you need that in this day and age though, with the way
No,
like
you don't need
Spotify?
it. You never needed it at any point because that's not what real metal music is about. It's not about that.
Right.
It's about the fans and the band.
Yeah.
It's not about radio play and what somebody is force feeding an audience to listen to.
Right.
It's not
Yeah.
about that, and you don't want to be part of that. But having said all that, in order to really make it big, there are a number of things that really need to be in place. And like Lemmy said in the Anvil movie, you got to be at the right place at the right time.
Mm.
Now, there's a lot of wisdom and truth in what he's saying, but not only do you have to be at the right place at the right time, it's with the right people.
Right.
And it's not about the members in your band, it's about the people that are doing business
Yeah.
for your band and with your band. And then there's the sheer luck of it all and striking the right chord at the right time with the people out there, with the sheep.
Yeah.
Having the right song and having the right song at the right time. Sammy Hagar, we had a long discussion with him, and he started telling me about you got to get lucky. He says, "Man, look at all the fucking songs I've written in my career, and I wrote I Can't Drive 55, and it finally fucking happens." He says,
Right.
"I got lucky. One day I got lucky." And all that fucking shit and all the songs I've written, I got lucky once. And I've still been looking for another one and I can't find it. Yeah, it's getting lucky, man, This particular album, and it's like and he's right, because you always do the best you can. You always come up with great ideas, and you come up with a magical riff, and you come up with whatever lyrics and whatever, and you hope that the combinations click, and then you put the record out, and you got to hope that the people like it, and all the different facets and combination, and then you see what happens. In this particular case, like as an example, I write this riff, and we go out on the road, and we go to Colorado. Some friend of mine gives me a handful of pot in a little tiny plastic bag, and I wrap it in Kleenex, stick it in my pocket. I cross the border, I see drug dogs on patrol, and I get all fucking freaked out. I put the fucking pot on the dashboard, moving my fanny pack out of the way. I'm trying to stuff it down my pants. I roll the window down because I'm getting all fucking sweaty because I'm nervous, and the pot flies out the window, and the cop sees it.
Oh my God.
So they pull us over. They fucking bust me for littering and for a gram of pot. $350 later, and a fucking almost shitting my pants. Find out that okay, well, there's no criminal charge, and here I am in the USA. I'm a Canadian citizen. I'm thinking, oh, now I'm going to fucking jail, and I'm getting deported, right? Oh, great. And none of that happened. It's just like they take our pot, they take my pot away, they give me a fucking ticket, and I go ahead, guys, see you later. And the next thing I know, I'm going, okay, give me a piece of paper. I write a whole fucking poem story out of it. And then I realize, oh fuck, I got a great riff for this.
Yeah.
fit all the lyrics on it, fit all the song. Next thing I know, I'm going, wow, that's fucking, what a great fucking song this is making. So we're finishing the song, and we need somebody to help us with an album cover. An artist comes down and goes, hey, that's a great song. I can make a fucking cartoon video out of this. Cartoon video? Wow, wait a minute. And it's lyric video. Wait a minute. Cartoon, video, lyrics, right. Fucking amazing. No one's ever done this. And it's like bing, 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 bing. It's that lucky magic, right? And there you got your Nabbed in Nebraska.
Yeah, that's my favorite song off this new album.
Yeah, right. And that's how stuff like that happens. It's not because you planned it. It's not because, it's just shit falls into place. It's the Sammy Hagar theory of making it. You get fucking lucky, man.
Yeah. Who's are you singing? Is everybody singing in the band singing backups this, or do you have like special guests singing backups? Because I noticed there's like a big gang thing.
We have, when we were in Germany, there's a lot of talent and friends around, and we've got a great production crew. And when we needed some backup vocals, particularly gang vocals, we invited a whole bunch of guys into the studio, and they came and did it. But the other magical aspect is finding the right bass player that can do great backup vocals. So it's the best combination we've ever had. That's more of getting lucky. Yeah. Not just, you can plan stuff all, best laid plans, you know what I mean?
Right.
And it still works, but it's when you actually let things happen and grow and mature in its own way that you get this kind of thing going on. And we're at a place in time in our career, I think, that we're hitting that really good moment, so hopefully everything will click and we'll get that luck and that the right people in the right place. And we're with a new record label and new people promoting us, and maybe we'll get a little bit bigger, and we'll grow a bit bigger, and we'll get even more successful, and I'll have even more fun.
Yeah, I hope so. What label are you on now? What was that?
More fun and more great, more money in my retirement, in my retirement plan.
What record label are you on now?
AFM.
Oh, AFM. Okay, that's a good one. Yeah.
Dustin Hardman is doing our promotion, who is really superb.
Yep. I constantly get his emails, and that's how I set up this interview with you, through him. The new album's awesome. Legal at Last, I love that song too. The opening track. Now, track number 3, Chemtrails. Are you a conspiracy theorist?
No, it's not. It's a conspiracy. Is it a conspiracy? It's just because, show me the science, show me the proof.
Yeah.
Okay, well, what are you, a God guy? Where's the science? Where's the proof? Come on, man. Isn't God a conspiracy theory?
Yes, he is.
It is, right?
It is.
So it's like, what the fuck, man? But yet, when you can see chemtrails in the sky, you've got checkerboards in the sky right in front of your eyes. Oh, it's just regular passenger planes leaving streaks. No. And meanwhile, those streaks sit there for 6 hours.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
Yes. Yep.
That's no conspiracy. There's something going on.
Oh, there definitely is.
Some people don't want to admit it. It's like, hey, Greta is being paid to say all this stuff about the environment. Like, what the fuck? What's the truth, man?
Right. How dare you?
That's what you want to believe? What the fuck is that?
Right. And they pick a child to do that, to try to pull on everybody's heart. She's
not just picked. She's a Mensa student. She's a fucking genius kid.
Yeah.
That's not just a fucking. It's and people don't want to know about that.
Yeah.
The information is there, but God forbid you should read about it or find out the information. It's actually legitimate shit.
Yeah.
People don't. She's not being paid.
I don't know if she's being paid, but she might be being taught.
Everybody has their doubts, right?
Right.
Everybody has their doubts. I just see things for what they are. I don't listen, and I'm not even on Facebook. I can't handle it anymore.
Yeah, I noticed you left.
Yeah, everybody's opinions and everybody's full of shit because
Yes.
no one is reading,
No.
right?
Yeah.
And if you don't read, you're not going to find out the information, and you got to read in the right places. That means not the National Enquirer,
Right.
okay? And even when you're reading stuff like the New York Times, you got to kind of question that, because where are they getting their information from? So
Right,
you got to be careful, and that's what I'm saying. What's the truth? It's what you
Right.
want to fucking believe.
Yeah.
So people don't want to hear the truth, and in the sense that, especially if it costs money,
Mm.
it's money out of your own pocket, then it's all bullshit, right?
Right.
I don't we're all in denial of that humanity has actually caused a lot of damage to this fucking planet. No one wants to be accountable. No one wants to be responsible, and certainly no one wants to pay for it.
Right.
So where are we? What are we doing?
Yeah.
So that these are all the questions. A lot of stuff. It's like, why was marijuana made illegal?
Right.
Come on,
Yeah,
man.
'cause-
Well, people, you got to ask that question. Why was it made legal?
Right.
Especially when virtually there was no information, there was no research. No one knows what the fuck is going on with it, or especially in the 1930s. But
Right.
what they did know is they knew that if they let that plant be grown and it to be manufactured and be looked after, it was going to fucking destroy the cotton industry, the pulp and paper industry, the lumber industry.
Yeah.
It was a huge, massive threat to the national economy of the world.
Yeah. Yeah,
Make
it's
it legal.
all about money.
All about money. Because, but trust me when I tell you, and you don't even have to trust me. Everybody knows the government doesn't give a shit what's good for you or bad for you.
No.
All they care about is money.
Exactly.
And if they did care, we wouldn't be smoking cigarettes.
Right.
We certainly wouldn't be drinking alcohol. And these are addictive drugs.
Yeah.
That is really addictive drugs. Marijuana is not addictive.
Right.
And it's far less harmful in the sense for on a health wise than alcohol or cigarettes. But that's besides the point, right? But what is it going to do to our economy? But now then, when they take a look at the whole situation and they go, hey, wait a minute, they're looking at Colorado. They're out of debt. What do you mean? They're making fucking money? Wait, we got to get in on this, right? And now all of a sudden it's all cool. Let's legalize it. And then they get an intelligent, well, people are driving around high. Well, people have been driving around high for 50 fucking years.
Exactly.
But what are they thinking? Hey, we can charge people with driving impaired. So
Right.
there's more money to be made.
Yeah.
Like, you just look at what one thing leads to another. It's what a fucking world we're living in, man.
Yeah. It's insane. I even with my kid, I hate to bring my kid up into this shit. It's insane.
Well, it's just we're cavemen with computers, right?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, we're still fighting over whose God is better when you can't prove that there is
Right.
one.
You can't even. Yeah, exactly. It makes no sense.
and meanwhile, they could have had batteryized cars from 50, 60 years ago, if not longer. And who knows where we would be with battery technology if they had started with it instead of trying to put it away, because of course the oil companies, let's abolish it.
Right. Yeah.
Can't let that happen. But what do we do? We kept on building fossil fuel engines that pollute our air, and then we've got to send airplanes up to emit alumina to sunlight to keep the temperature of the planet down, and that's called chemtrails. But we can't. That doesn't exist. That's not real. That's a conspiracy theory, right? We can't let marijuana. You can make diesel fuel. You can make plastics and fabric fabric. So that, instead of having blue jeans, we'd have green jeans, and it'd last for 20 years. But that would have put Levi's out of business. So we got to make sure marijuana stays illegal. Like it's just a fucking crazy world, man.
It is crazy. Now you guys legalized it over there. What? 2 years ago? Or
Yeah,
3 years ago?
It's about a year and a half ago now.
They still didn't legalize it here in New York yet.
It was like October 17th, a year ago, a year and a half ago, right?
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, they still didn't legalize it here. I mean, I think you get like the liquid thing or so. I don't know. I don't smoke anyway, but still.
Yeah.
The other two guys I do the show with. Huh?
Yeah, it's interesting. I kind of quit because I quit cigarette smoking, and I was smoking pot with my tobacco, and tobacco is being like addicted to fucking heroin, man. To quit tobacco is a real serious fucking thing, man. So I had to quit smoking pot in order to do it because I was doing it together, and it's like they both got to go. And so I'm at the point where I don't really smoke anything. Wow. On occasion, I will smoke a pipe load of pot, sit down at my computer, and write 30 songs. And that's the only time I'll smoke because it's like opening the door to your imagination when you do that, and especially if you stop smoking, you really get high. And all the bottled up energy and ideas come out really easy when you smoke.
Yeah,
so
that's what I hear.
And that's what to me now I'm using the drug properly.
Right. Yeah, to be creative.
The abuse of it is when you use it and you get so used to it that now you're smoking to get normal.
Right.
And it's not addiction.
Right.
There is no such thing as being addicted to marijuana. I had no problem stopping smoking pot. The big problem was stopping tobacco.
Yeah, you never
unbelievable, man.
Yeah, you never hear any pills being made to stop you from smoking marijuana. It's always like cigarettes or something,
No, you don't. Massive difference. And people are really, even coffee is much more addictive than pot. You can't overdose on pot.
Right. Yeah.
And that's got to tell you something right there. Have you ever heard of anybody overdosing on marijuana? Never heard.
No, sir.
It's not going to happen.
No, I don't think so. So how is this album different from like the last album? Like, did you record this any differently, or you use any different instruments or anything, or you pretty much record always the same?
Yeah, we just go in and record as a band, the same old way.
So you actually like go into a studio and practice with each other and everything? I guess you have time now because you don't got any jobs. So
that's right. Yeah, that's right. We write all the songs in our rehearsal studio, rehearse for a good 4 months before going into the recording studio, bang out the bed tracks in 2-3 days, and then I do the rest of the work.
Wow. Really cool. Yeah, a lot of bands don't do that. Everybody's like, even I have a band, and it's just me and my friend, and we share files back and forth on the computer. We don't go into a studio anymore. We just don't have the time to do that. But it's good to know that you get together with the guys and actually put the music together.
Yeah, we record it like a real band. And Rob plays the bed track top to bottom.
Yeah,
the whole band plays as a band. So there's a bed track. The basic fundamental tracks are done as a band.
Yeah, I think that makes the songs better.
You don't use click tracks. You don't use any of that shit. So it has a real natural feel. We do it really old school style, but with modern technology.
Right. Yeah, you can tell that you guys, do that because, a lot of bands, you can tell that they're, doing like what I do or playing with the click track because everything is just always on time and everything. And it's just so unrealistic. It doesn't feel real. It feels robotic, and your stuff doesn't at all. Especially with Rob's drums. I mean, I'm a drummer. He's a big influence on me with his drums ever since I, found out you guys. And just hearing the way Rob plays drums and just how he I guess he almost has like a jazz feel to him. Like he's like a kind of like a jazz drummer, maybe.
Yeah, well, it's the influence. We both love Buddy Rich. We're
Hmm.
Buddy Rich fanatics, actually.
Oh,
As
really?
although I'm a guitar player, I love drumming.
Yeah.
I love the art of drumming, and I have a very deep appreciation and understanding into that instrument.
Yeah.
And I think what makes Anvil really ultimately different from most bands, it's drum oriented music. It
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
We are specifically doing stuff for the sake of the feel more so than anything else.
All
But
right.
that's really the center focus, and it always has been. And the
Mm.
music is being written by a drummer and a guitar player, not
Right.
not a guitar player and a singer.
Right.
And now, having said that, that's why it's so integral and became so integral to listen to Anvil, uh, like other musicians like Metallica and stuff like that. It's because it is centered around drums.
Yeah.
And let's face it, heavy metal drumming is what makes it drumming metal, or what
Right.
makes metal metal. A riff is a riff, but what are you playing to it?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
You
It's got to
know
have
that-
double bass or
right.
something.
You can play a single bass drum beat to a speed riff, but it's not the same as playing a double bass drum beat
Right.
to that speed riff.
All right.
And Rob was one of the first guys to kind of do that.
Yeah.
So it became, and these were the things that we discovered as young guys. It wasn't done with, oh, we're going to teach the world a new method. It was like, oh, this is fucking cool. Check this out. It was
Yeah.
more like that.
Yeah. Yeah. He reminds me a lot of Garl Samuelson from Megadeth, like the original drummer from Megadeth. He has a very similar style to him, and yeah, he's Rob's awesome. He still does his painting and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, who did the artwork for this album? He didn't do this one, right?
No, he did it for the Anvil is Anvil. That was
Yeah. Yep.
Rob's. He's very much into still life,
Yeah.
stuff like that, and that's how that came to be. And it was his idea that once we came up with Anvil is Anvil, he's going, I know exactly what I want to do. I'm going to put an anvil in a mirror.
Right.
Anvil is Anvil. And I went, fuck, that's great. I love it. A lot of people went, well, that's such a stagnant cover. It's so fucking, to me, it's so pure.
Right.
How pure can you get? You got the drummer of the band created the album cover. You know what I mean? It's like, and the album is called Anvil is Anvil. It's like,
Right.
it can be more pure than that.
Yeah, it works. You have a favorite song off your new album?
Probably Said and Done.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and because of the philosophy of it,
Which is what?
basically to be the best you can possibly be and do the best you possibly can and have no regrets with your life.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think that's pretty much my kind of theme of my life, is to not have regrets, to do everything that I possibly can, the best I can, so that I don't feel sorry or fucking fucked up later.
Right.
Yeah. And that includes, like we talked about, making sure my marriage worked, making sure I was there for my son and my kids, and to have the things in life that are important, and make sure that they're nurtured and looked after and appreciated.
Yeah.
It's being and doing the best you can, without having to have any regrets. And that's what that song's about. So to me, it's kind of a theme for myself. So I think that's why I like it. And that, and the fact that it's so Sabbathy, which is my all-time favorite band of.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Right. Real cool. Do you still talk to what was his name? Your old bass player that was in the movie, John Five? Is that his name? Or Rob Farn?
Glenn Five, no.
Glenn Five, yes, Glenn Five. You don't talk to him at all?
No, a lot of bad blood.
Really?
Yeah. unfortunately, he became very, very envious and jealous and in competition with Rob and I. That just doesn't work. You
It was
know,
a shame because he was with you guys for a very long time.
well, you know what? It's not a shame when you get the right guy in replacement.
All right. All right. Well,
Okay.
everybody, please go check out Anvil's new album. It is called Legal at Last.
Fast.
Legal at Last. And it is released, well, he says February 14th. Amazon says February 21st. So just go buy it for wherever it comes out first. And anything else you want to tell us before we leave?
No, just how grateful I am that I got to talk to you and that, you know, it was a great interview. I think I covered just about everything and anything.
I think so. I think so. And we're not getting any more new bass players, right? We said on this one?
No, I think we're real set on this one.
All right. I hope so.
No more. It really worked out. We got the right guy.
Yeah.
It's really the right guy. And what most importantly, he's my friend and fucking he sing great.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all that matters. As long as everything's working out.
Yeah, the singing is actually almost more important than any kind of other accompaniment because it's upfront stuff.
Yeah.
You know, when you hear legal, and it's like the Three Stooges. It sounds fucking awesome.
Right. Will you ever let him sing his own song maybe once?
I don't think he really wants to.
No.
You know, that's the thing. He's not really up for that kind of thing.
Yeah. All right. All right. Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate it, and I had fun talking to you.
Okay, have a good
right.
evening, and I'll speak to you again sometime, man.
What?